Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Starcraft 2 replay cast on Dusk Towers. It is a 1v1 between our red Terran player, Happy, and down at the bottom we have our blue Terran player, Bomber. And we will speed this up just a little bit till about the 2-minute mark, where everything starts to get good. Again, it is Dusk Towers, only one place to find your opponent, so not much question there. Some fairly early gas, both sides getting gas at the same time. They're using a similar strategy. Now going to be making that factory there. And the two Reapers now moving out, scouting each other using almost the exact same strategy. Of course, that meta. Now the Reaper going to be moving up. The spot Bomber looks like going to get there about the same time. Happy's Reaper gets there first and may take out that Marine there and throws that D8 charge and tosses that Marine. Now taking a lot of damage from those SCVs. And unfortunately, takes those SCVs off the line for a little bit there, loses a little bit of income. And now another Reaper on the way to the base here. And it looks like Happy's Reaper moving out, and a Bomber's Reaper now moving back to the base here. So two Reapers for Happy now moving towards Bomber, one Reaper for Bomber. And now gonna lose that Reaper there. So two Reapers. Going to be very difficult for Bomber to take care of both of these Reapers at the same time, as they just sort of move away and then heal and then sort of move away. But now he has a Hellion, so now these Reapers not so worthwhile, and just going to have to bail out of there for now and just use them as scouting potential for a little while. One of them was lost there to the Hellion, and Hellion going to try and track it down, and he knows exactly where that Reaper was going to go. And there he goes, blasting away at it. 15 health left, 1 health left on that Reaper. And here comes another Hellion to finish it off. And so very good sixth sense, knowing where that Reaper was going to go. Right up there on that little cliff. Starport coming out now for Happy. Another command center for the second expansion. And let's see, we have one starport there. A second barracks on the way. Slightly different builds here. Looks like a slightly earlier command center for Happy. Whereas Bomber getting a little bit more units out first. Now Bomber puts 3 Hellions there, 2 Marines inside of a medevac, and boosts it along. Get there a little bit faster. 4 Hellions chilling here though, able to react very quickly to the 3 Hellions and 2 Marines. And the 2 Marines going to be sort of not very useful in the fight against 4 Hellions there. Now Viking out. And we'll be able to take out that medevac. Or at least dissuade it from staying around very long. And I'm going to be dropping here in the expansion of Happy. See how many he can take down here. So far, Happy losing 350 resources, losing a little bit more than Bomber. And the Viking going to get some hits in on this medevac. But that boost puts it a little ahead of that Viking. Viking a little bit faster, though. Going to catch up sooner or later, but the boost going to kick in after 6 seconds here and allow it to get out of the way. Now we have 6 Hellions moving out to Bomber's base. 200 resources lost to 350, so a little bit more lost there for Happy still. Total units. Probably Raven out for Happy, which will be making its way out shortly here. And I'm going to roast that SCV there. And we have a Marauder that's going to push forward and try and take care of some of those Hellions and a Siege Tank as well. Those Hellions really not going to be able to do too much now. Did take care of that SCV, stop the production of that supply depot for a little bit, and they're going to come back and try and do it again shortly. Notice there's no second expansion. Going to just start making that to command center now with an SCV. Meanwhile, the command center already has an orbital command and going to be landing at the second expansion, so much, much faster here for Happy. And now working on creating some of those SCVs, and we'll see if he decides to be Maynarding SCVs over there or not, or just perhaps just setting the rally point on all 3 of those command centers to go to that mineral field there. Hellion still sitting outside of Bomber's base, waiting for something good to happen. The medevac cruising around. A little bit of health lost on that medevac from that Viking. And now 2 more medevacs out. And could pick up the majority of these units here with those 3 medevacs. And now going to be really pumping out Marines fast here. 3 reactors and a tech lab. Tech lab making that combat shield now. And 2 more medevacs on the way. And siege mode engaged here. Marauder trying to harass these Hellions away. And those Hellions really not going to be able to do too much to that. Marauder should get those Marines back. Just let the Marauder do his job. And take a bunch of damage like he's supposed to. And those Hellions just have to bail out of there. Not going to do too much. And as much as they try, they're just going to do some damage to it. And then it's going to get healed right back up. But I guess taking a little bit of energy away from those medevacs if you want to think that's much of a game changer. Although, could be if they didn't have any mana or energy. And now all those Hellions gone, and the siege tanks in siege mode lifted up by those medevacs there. Always such a goofy sight. And gonna drop those soon here. And hit medevacs dropped by Happy on his own there. And I'm gonna try and drop him up there, but no, that's not gonna be a good idea at all. Some auto turrets have been dropped. That's something I haven't seen in a little while. And that auto turret did not last long at all. They only last 7 seconds. And medevac's moving over to the right side of the map. If they can try and get something going. That expansion going really strong here for Happy, and it looks like Bomber's expansion has just really started going. 9 SCVs compared to 2 fully functional refineries, and slightly overworked there. And saturation now just about under for those missile turrets, making a supply depot as well. I'm able to drop over there with those missile turrets, although one, not such a big deal. And I'm going to drop right in the middle of the base here, and there's just 1 missile turret, but that's going to get taken out really fast by those Marines. And Siege Tank now trying to come on over, going to drop some auto turrets, going to soak up some of those Siege Tank hits. And loses his Raven there, and loses the majority of his army as well. That was definitely not good for Happy. Lost quite a bit. Now going to drop those siege tanks in the back there, and looks like Bomber here took quite a bit of damage, but has tons of Marines still going strong, and those 2 siege tanks here are going to be lost shortly as those siege tanks were brought up. And now those Marines here in a little bit of trouble, going to pick those up and try and get them out of there. And did take out a number of SCVs, and the units lost tab here. 3,700 lost for Bomber, 7,200, now 7,400 for Happy. Nearly 7,500 there. And also attacking the expansion here had to be lifted off and escaped. So lots lost now nearly 7,900. So Happy losing quite a bit there. Had a good start there with the 2 Reapers, but then it sort of just spiraled out on him. It built a little bit too much Hellions, I think, and they really didn't get too much done. Those 5 or 6 Hellions that were sitting outside of Bomber's base earlier really didn't do too much. They did kill that SCV. They killed a couple Marines, but in the end, that's not a lot. Now the expansion coming down, and I'm a little surprised by that, as Happy's expansion came down first, so he had a very good resource income. However, it does take quite a bit of resources to get a expansion going like that. Building all those SCVs does really take a toll on those minerals. And dropping tons of mules down. Working pretty hard there. 3 mules over here. And income right now. Again, a little bit more for Happy there. His expansion going much stronger. Again, with all these mules going, that is sending his income a little bit over Bombers right now. But I'm assuming once these mules disappear, it will certainly be a little bit more behind in production. 2 level 2 weapons here, level 1 or for the weapons and the armor, that is, and just level 2 weapons for Happy. Can't really quite afford level 2 armor, and that's definitely going to set him back, having 1 less armor there than his opponent. And now vehicle weapons level 1 for Happy being created here. Or rather, Happy has level 2 and 1 going, or level 2 weapons and armor. Oh my god, I'm just so... And only 1 for Bomber, that is. All the colors and all the units and all the upgrades are all the same. And all the siege tanks here lifted up by those medevacs. I always think that's just a funny sight. I'm really glad Blizzard decided to do that too, and it was done quite a while ago, but I'm really glad they decided to do that because it sort of makes a lot of even more micro for the game, and a little bit more strategies, as you can just drop the siege tanks in already in siege mode and sort of just chess piece move them along rather than having to unsiege and then take that time to siege up. And while you're taking that time to siege up, you would end up losing something while you were undefended there for a moment. And was going to try and drop in the base, but all those siege tanks just got dropped and drops them all over the place here, and a mess of death occurring. These Terran versus Terran, and the siege tanks there are going to be picked up and trying to get out of there, and lost that fight there. Bomber losing out. And now nearly caught up in the terms of resources lost to Happy, as Happy had way more resources lost than Bomber. And with that fight there, he lost out quite a bit, and now is nearly even. So that did not go well for him at all. And these sensor towers now spot his opponent is coming, and gonna try and get in this choke here to deal with these siege tanks coming out. And always a frustrating experience doing a mirror match, especially I always thought Terran versus Terran was always the most frustrating mirror match. I would say that Zerg versus Zerg is the most boring to watch, in my opinion. But Terran versus Terran was always a sort of a frustrating thing to play, because the siege tanks versus siege tanks was so hard to keep setting up, because you would keep losing them and gaining them and losing them. Whereas Zerg versus Zerg, you just sort of build Zerglings and Banelings, and they destroy each other over and over until somebody wins. That's usually the way it goes. Planetary Fortress has been destroyed there by all of those siege tanks. So many siege tanks. And so many missile turrets over there, too, to prevent those siege tanks from getting over there. Another expansion, though, up here. And so the income, way more still for Bomber. Happy down quite a bit compared to Bomber with that extra expansion there as a planetary fortress. And for Happy here, 10 medevacs, 12 siege tanks, 46 marines, lots more marines for Bomber, a little bit less siege tanks, a little bit less medevacs, but has a couple Vikings. I'm going to try and take out some of those medevacs with those Vikings, and that would be definitely good. Up that siege tank play. And so many siege tanks lifted up here. And the game has turned from lifting up a ton of marines to rather lifting up all of your siege tanks. I'm now going to put a command center all the way down there. And turn it into a planetary fortress. But unfortunately against Terran, all of those siege tanks are just going to take it out very quickly. But it will slow him down for a moment, I suppose. And now all those medevacs getting past and going to hit this expansion again. And now working away on these SCVs. They got to get out of there. They're going to be losing a lot, but he decides to just move forward and move around this. And now he's got behind Happy. Bomber now behind Happy, and loses a lot of those marines to all those siege tanks that were dropped. But going to be pushing forward here. A couple of siege tanks over here. We're taking some things out, but those marines now pushing forward in the base of Happy now. I'm going to try and take out the orbital command, and takes that out, so no more income there, but does have that expansion just down below that, so didn't lose all that much income. But right now, Bomber has way more income. Now all those siege tanks dropped off, and these Marines are going to be lost very quickly here. Just going to have to boost out of there. And it looks like at the moment he's microing and needs to get out of there. Going to drop some of those, the rest of those Marines. Try and take out some more SCVs. And units lost still. More for Happy. So Bomber so far consistently being losing less resources than his opponent, which is always a good thing. Now going to make a new orbital command, or rather going to land one. The one from the old expansion there. And going to try and take out a supply depot here, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. There he goes, loses all of his Marines. But made a lot more. Has 57 going strong now, and more siege tanks now. So now the tides have flipped in terms of the Marines and siege tanks. Still has just those two Vikings going to be looming overhead over the battle here. I'm going to try and take out some of these medevacs so we can no longer lift to these siege tanks. And here we go, drop into those siege tanks, pushing those Marines forward there, all stemmed up, but didn't really get too much done there. So just used a lot of energy on those medevacs. Both sides, they're trying to get the first hits. So basically, you just got to drop and hope that you hit your opponent, and if you don't, you got to pick them back up and try again. So both sides doing that exact strategy. Either side wanting to run into the other one first, as you would lose the majority of your Marines, and that is certainly never good. And now all those siege tanks down, and he's going to do it. He's going to move in, and all those siege tanks setting up. Didn't have enough medevacs to quite pick those up there. And now some of those medevacs shot up by the Vikings a little bit. Going to push a medevac forward here, and this is a scout medevac to see what was going on. And those Vikings there could get some shots in on that medevac there. Take out this one here, low health. Could take that out in probably one volley there. There goes, hits another medevac, and nearly takes it out, but those Marines finish him off. Greedy, greedy Vikings. And I'm just going to go around here, but there was a Marine there that spots a scout Marine that lost his life there for the Federation. And the battle ensues again. Death occurs all over the place, and Happy loses everything, has to GG out. And Bummer victorious there, and just consistently kept a lower units lost there. Now at the ending of the game, about 3,000 less. So did pretty good there, and a very good replay. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.